Okay, we are on Chapter 9, page 559, and we need to start Excel, which I've already done, maximize it, which I've already done, and open the workbook called Rivers Edge Show Inventory Data. So let's do a file here, open, and we need to go find our data, which is under Data Files, Chapter 9, and the one we want is Rivers Edge Show Inventory Data. Click on Open, and there's our file, and we're going to tack the word analysis on, and as always when we save our files here, I'm going to put my name on the end of it as well so I know it's a file that I have modified. And if the worksheet window is not maximized, well, it is maximized, so we're good. And now we're going to look at some tools to audit your formulas. I'm on the top of page 562 now. Need to make show inventory of the active worksheet, which it is, and click formulas on the ribbon to display the formulas tab. Let's go to formulas, and we want to go to E15. E15 is right here, and looks like we got some errors in here that we'll have to fix. Click the trace precedence button, and that is on the formula auditing group up here, and trace precedence, and it tells you which formulas are included, which cells are included in this formula, and it is everything from B15 to D15, these cells in the blue box right here, and there's an arrow pointing to the value that's computed. Let's go to number 2 on page 562. Click the trace precedence button again to draw arrows indicating the precedence of those cells. So if I click trace precedence again, now it tells me where they get their numbers from. Okay, and now we're on number 3 at the top of page 563. Click the trace precedence one more time, and it shows you where their data comes from, and this little worksheet icon here tells me that they're coming from another worksheet. Double click the dashed arrow pointing to the dot in cell C5, so that would be this arrow right here. No, it'd be this one right here. So let's double click on that, and it should come up and tell us where that data is coming from. And it's the, let's make this a little bit, can we make this wider? No, we can't make it wider. All we can do is go down here and hit the end key, and now it'll show us the rest of the data. And it looks like it's getting it from materials calculations, which is down here, cell number M5. Now let's go to page 564 and number 2. And click on OK, and it takes us back here, and it shows us the number 567, which is where we got our data from. And click the OK button. We already did that. Okay. Now we're at the bottom of page 564. Remove the precedent arrows. Click the Show Inventory Sheet tab, which is back here, and click the Remove Arrows button right here, and it removes all of the arrows. Now we're back to our clean spreadsheet. Now, page 565, number 2. Click the Remove Precedent Arrows. To remove precedent arrows linking to the materials calculation sheet. Okay, I went a little bit too far there, but we end up removing all of them. And now let's go to number 2 on page 565. It's the last bullet item. It says edit cell C15. So here's cell C15. We want that to read C13 times C5 and hit enter. And when we do that, we get the number 0 down there, which should agree with figure 910 on the top of page 565. Okay, now we're going to do trace dependence. We're going to click on cell B8, and we're going to find out what it is used for. Click the trace dependence button up here, and it shows me other cells that use B8 in their computations. So we should have something pointing to B11. Here's an arrow. B13, here's an arrow. B14, and over here is E8. Click the trace dependence button 2 more times, and trace dependence, and now it goes further, and then it goes even further, and so now I can see all the stuff that is dependent on the value right here in B8. Now go to page 566, click the remove arrows button to remove all of the dependent arrows, and there we go, and now they're all gone. Now we're on page 567. We're going to open the watch window and add cell watches. Number 1, if necessary, click formulas on the ribbon tab. We're already there. Click the watch window button in the auditing group here. And if necessary, move it to the location shown. So we're going to kind of drag it out of the way down here where it's not covering up any data. And click the add watch button right here. May not look like a button, but it is. And we've got the add watch dialog box, and now we're on the top of page 568. And we want to make sure rows 14 through 16 of D and E are not hidden. And they're not. So select D14, which is right here, and we want D16, which is this. Got to hold the control key down for non-adjacent selection, and we want this one and this one, E14 and E16, and then we're going to click the add button. And if necessary, expand the name column in the watch window to complete the cell names. Let's go here, and actually I'm going to make the whole thing, everything a little bit wider here so you can see a little bit better. And there we go. Okay. And reduce the width of the value column to match figure 916. I'm not going to do that. Let's go on to page 569. Click cell E16 to select it. Here's E16. Click the trace precedence button, the stuff that is used to compute this. And we want to do that 3 times. Okay. And double click the dashed arrow pointing to the dot in cell D14. So D14 is right here. Double click the dotted arrow, which is right here, and we get the go to dialog box, and we want the one that goes to Ch09. And if I click down here, it looks like it's the last one. Let me click in the bottom reference area here and hit end, and yes, that is Ch09. Now we're on the top of page 570. Click the OK button, and we're on the materials calculations worksheet, and we're on J8 or J28, and there's an error there obviously because it says divide by 0, and we want to move the watch window to over here somewhere, and click the error checking button, and we get the error checking dialog box here. And click the trace error button, and it'll show me where the data is coming from. Click cell J26 to make it the active cell. That would be this one right here, and it has J25 divided by J24 we see up here. And it should be J25 divided by I24. So let's change that, and it's absolute, so it's $I $24. and hit the enter key, and click the resume button in our error checking dialog box, and we're going to move our watch window to the lower right hand. We're going to click OK, and then we're going to move our watch window down here. Whoops, I went a little too far with that. Let's drag it back again. I didn't want to dock it. Okay, now let's move it down there. Click the Show Inventory Worksheet. That's this one. If necessary, click the Remove Arrows button. So remove arrows and they all go away. And click the Close button on the watch window. And now we are on the bottom of page 571. And the next section is data validation, so we'll stop there and do data validation in the next video.